FFG recently did a teaser article for the next set, Homeworlds, something they do as part of the cycle of leading up to spoiler season. Still feels really early for that, really. But my favourite bit is when they tease us with some character subtitles, that little bit of text under the name of the character on the card. And the reason why you can have 60 copies of Boba Fett in your Eternal decks. What a time to be alive. So we have 12 character subtitles, no names, no card text, no artwork, just 12 cryptic subtitles, just like the Guardian crossword, and the instruction for us to try and figure it out. And today we're going to sit down. We're going to go through every single one of these 12 subtitles and take a punt. With the combined power of Star Wars lore, confirmed set information, and genuinely impressive levels of overthinking this sort of stuff, exactly what cards are FFG hiding from us? I'm NoBeefJustParty. This is SWURAY, and it's time for some wild speculation. Right, before we get into the riddles, let me quickly run through what we actually know about Homeworlds already, because context matters when we're taking a punt and trying to figure out who these units are going to be. Homeworlds launches in October. Spotlight decks featuring Chewbacca and Grand Moff Tarkin, whose leader unit is the Death Star. Something that I'm really looking forward to. I was hoping they were going to do something like this at some point in the game, but it deploys at 9 resources and basically kills anything with 10 or less remaining HP. So a playable Death Star unit in Star Wars Unlimited. Even though it's the wrong colours, I am going to be playing it. So yeah, really looking forward to that. There's a brand new keyword, Fortify, which lets you attach upgrades to your base for the first time. That's going to be interesting. 2 new token types, Beast tokens, which are 3/3 ground units. Token creep is real. And weakness tokens, which the opposite of experience tokens, giving a unit a -1/-1/1. Planet-based traits are going to be really important. In this set, Tatooine, Naboo, Endor, and Kashyyyk seem to be the ones that are going to have some synergy, but also tells us a lot about where the stories they're trying to tell in this set are being told. And the set has a heavy emphasis on alien creatures and the invading armies that they kind of defend against, as well as mentioning that the Acolyte and Bad Batch are being represented quite heavily in this set as well. Out of all of that information, let's get into the riddles and see if you agree with my little musings. Right, number 1, few greater battles to fight. Kashyyyk is one of our 4 confirmed planet-based traits in this set, the Wookiee homeworld. And obviously the most famous battle on Kashyyyk, the Battle of Kashyyyk during Revenge of the Sith, was led on the Wookiee side by 2 warriors. Chewbacca, who is already our Spotlight deck leader, and Tarful. To me, this makes Tarful an obvious choice. Kashyyyk Wookiee warrior who could do with a new card. Few greater battles to fight is a kind of line you give to a veteran warrior who has seen it all, who has fought for his homeworld his entire life, and who looks at the Battle of Kashyyyk and thinks, this is it. This is what I've been trained for this whole time. Full Tarful energy. So it'd be really good to see another Tarful character and more Wookiee cards, really. Could it be another Chewbacca unit? Possibly, but with Chewbacca already headlining a Spotlight deck, I think FFG will probably use that subtitle for Tarful as a main set leader of kind of rare or legendary status. Number 2, and this one I'm calling right now with complete confidence. Everyone has a weakness. That is a direct word-for-word quote from Quamir, the Stranger. Says it to May in The Acolyte. It's probably one of the most memorable lines in the show as well, delivered in that quietly menacing way that makes Quamir generally one of the most interesting characters in that series. And Acolyte is confirmed to have a major presence in the Homeworld set. Quamir is the main antagonist in The Acolyte. This subtitle is not a coincidence. This is almost certainly Crimea. And look at the new weakness tokens in this set as well. The -1/-1 tokens that can punish your opponent's units. There's a thematic link between the subtitle. Everyone has a weakness, and a new mechanic in the game, literally called weakness. Weakness tokens. FFG very rarely misses on this kind of flavor design. So I think this is Crimea, and I will eat some future SWURAY merch if I am wrong on that. 3 Screaming Predator. I don't think this is a character. This is going to be a creature. It makes complete sense because FFG have specifically said Homeworlds has more creature units than any previous set. And the whole set theme is alien worlds and the things that live on them. So they've got lots to pull from, really. Screaming Predator is an aggressive, loud, terrifying beast from one of the 4 featured Homeworlds. Most likely. I don't know enough, but some candidates for some potential ones, if they're going to have a named beast. The only one that I can really think of, really, is the Varictil. Is that how you pronounce that? Boga, Obi-Wan's mount on your Tapao. Not one of the 4 planet traits, so probably less likely. And then there's a bunch of stuff in the Genoshan arena. So maybe another Nexu, because it screams and constantly, and is one of the. It's quite a visually iconic creature. But this could be one of any creatures from this expanded creature roster set, and I'm sure there are dozens more possible creatures from the Homeworld planets. I'm just not up on that sort of lore. I don't think this is going to be a standout character as such. It's going to be a wee little beastie. Number 4, Shadowlands Insurgents. A bit of Wookiee lore. If you know Kashyyyk, the Shadowlands are they're kind of the dark, dangerous lower levels of the Wookiee forests. Kind of completely unexplored, full of ancient creatures and scary stuff. The place where Wookiees go to prove themselves, Predator style, and they prove themselves and then come back. An insurgent operating in the Shadowlands, so somebody fighting back, maybe resisting an occupation, Imperial or Trandoshan, from the deepest, most dangerous part of their homeworld. Or we're going to get a Legends character. Zalbar from Knights of the Old Republic. Great Wookiee choice. Shadowlands connections. He's from Kashyyyk. His story involves the Shadowlands. He's Revan's boy. We've got Revan in there. And so a great backstory, which does fit that. So it could be a gold border card. But, it just could be some kind of generic Wookiee resistance fighter. A new card representing nameless Wookiees warrior, who has continued the fight from the Shadowlands after the Clone Wars. But either way, this is a Kashyyyk card, and it's definitely going to be a Wookiee card. I really, really want it to be the Legends one, and hopefully a very good one for red and yellow players. Number 5, Cycle of Vengeance. 2 very strong candidates for this one. So I'm going to give you both before I land on my pick. Candidate 1, Darth Maul. Maul's entire narrative arc is, across Clone Wars, Rebels, Maul is defined by his endless cycle of hatred and revenge against the Sith who abandoned him, against everyone who wronged him and all the crime syndicates in the underworld. And, of course, Kenobi! He literally cannot stop. He is just continuously angry and just looking for revenge all the time. Candidate 2, and more likely, is May from the Acolyte. May's entire driving force in that show is her revenge quest against the 4 Jedi stationed on Brendok. She is literally running a vengeance solo campaign from episode 1. Cycle of Vengeance fits her perfectly, and the Acolyte being confirmed to have a major presence in the set also kind of makes sense. So as much as I love Maul and more Mauls the better. I'm going to lean into May being the one that is tagged along with this subtitle. I think it maps better to May's single-minded quest than to Maul, whose arc does eventually find sort of a resolution. I'll hold on to this very strong opinion very loosely, but more would be wonderful. But I do think it's gonna be May. Number 6, Family Found. I think we've got our first Bad Batch character, and here's why. It could point to Din, Djarin, and Grogu, Clan of Two, the whole Mandalorian found family narrative. So it could be that, but the Bad Batch is confirmed to have a major presence in Homeworlds, and Family Found maps perfectly onto Omega. Omega, the young clone who was created and kept on Kamino, never had experienced anything of the outside world, and finds family in Clone Force 99. They found each other. They are literally a family found rather than a family born. I think that emotional weight of that subtitle fits the character of Omega as well. Her whole arc is discovering like what family means, I guess. That is Omega's story from episode 1 of the Bad Batch, and I think they are due an Omega card. Has there been one this block? I don't think there has. So that's why I think Omega is the character this subtitle was written for. Yeah, we'll go with Omega. Number 7, corruption must be eradicated. Said with absolute conviction, this is the kind of line that someone says right before they do something morally questionable. In the name of a principle they've convinced themselves is righteous. That is the energy of the Jedi Order, particularly in the Acolyte. Specifically, that is the energy of one Master Soul. The Jedi's who choices on Brendok set the entire story of the Acolyte into motion. A man who genuinely believed he was doing the right thing. He believed that there was corruption preventing... The corruption he was preventing, did justify his actions. But also, Master Venestra is another option. She's the Jedi whose oversight of the situation keeps her complicit in the cover-up. Same conviction, same language, same kind of moral high ground. Either of these work. I lean into Soul because I would really like to see a Soul leader. And yeah, I just think it fits his story arc quite well. But both are strong Acolyte era Jedi who can fit that subtitle. But my gut is going Soul because I want a Soul leader, preferably in yellow. A good Soul leader in yellow would be great. Number 8, No Time for Regret at the Bad Batch. Has to be someone from that. So the whole series about soldiers who spent their lives making impossible choices and kind of dealing with the fallout of that, or not necessarily living with it and just moving on, and not allowing themselves to. Hunter lives with that kind of regret constantly. Tech, very pragmatic, right to the end. Echo carries the weight of what the Empire did to him, but Crosshair didn't give a shit. Crosshair is a character who spent most of the Bad Batch making choices he couldn't take back. Serving the Empire, he eventually left, coming to terms with all of it in his own kind of cold, methodical, precise way. No Time for Regret, I think, is a Crosshair line. It's his attitude, his armor against soldiers following orders. You can hear him saying it flat, certain, moving on. If Crosshair is in Homeworlds, I think this is going to be the card. I think this is almost certainly him. Number 9, Old Master. Now, this one is interesting because we already have it in the game. I'm going to put it up here. Is this a curveball, or are they just going to straight up reprint this card? In Spark of Rebellion, it's Yoda's subtitles, already Old Master. Is this subtitle in the very first set of Star Wars Unlimited? So if this subtitle appears again in Homeworlds, is it just going to be a reprint? Why would they tease it? You know, is it a reprint? Is it going to be a new version of the card? Maybe he has links with Kashyyyk, so maybe a General Yoda, as he did lead the fight on Kashyyyk. So a Yoda card with Kashyyyk synergy, I think, makes sense. Maybe it does. Maybe it's do stuff with Wookiees and things, or a more spicy alternative. Old Master is how Maul referred to himself in an episode of Rebels. He introduced himself to Ezra as the Old Master. It's one of his most iconic Rebels moments, probably. If this is Maul, then it's probably not. That will be the Cycle of Vengeance subtitle taken away from him as a possibility, I think. So either I don't see them giving Maul 2 cards. So if Maul is going to be in it, it's probably going to be this one. But I am leaning more into Yoda. Kashyyyk is too much of a too much of there's too much possible synergy there to have a Yoda leader with lots of Wookiee and Kashyyyk rules attached to it. You know, works well with a Kashyyyk base and gives Wookiees buffs and stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to be Yoda. Number 10, Perfectly Legal. This subtitle is doing something very specific. It's the kind of line that kind of like a scoundrel says with complete sincerity while doing something that is absolutely not legal. It's the verbal shrug of a man who lives entirely in that kind of grey areas of galactic commerce, or smuggling, as a lot of people will probably want to call it. Lando Calrissian has a famous line of, I will make it legal. Very similar energy. And Lando does fit. But Lando has had several cards recently, and Perfectly Legal doesn't quite have his kind of specific aristocratic kind of vibe. Hondo Onaka, though, Hondo lives and breathes Perfectly Legal. He's a pirate, he's a businessman, a storyteller, and a survivor who has kind of operated outside the law his entire life while maintaining that everything he does is completely above board. He'd say perfectly legal with a magnificent grin and a shrug, and generally believe it as well. I think we're going to get another Hondo card. I think it might be a leader as well. We're getting there. We're getting close. Number 11, a ship for a life. So a transaction, some sort of deal, something given in exchange for something that matters more than the price of the ship. I really struggled with this, but I think it could be the Marauder. In season 3, I think, is when they lose the ship, isn't it? They effectively give up the ship to buy their freedom and kind of their survival. Hunter and Wrecker are forced to leave the ship behind when the Empire invades Pavo. Is that what it's called? Oh, it's been a while. And then it's completely destroyed by the Empire. And that is in exchange for kind of saving Omega and the others. So it could be the Marauder. It could have an ability very similar to that of Queen Amidala, where you trade the Marauder for a ground unit when it dies. It'd be quite cool, quite fluffy. Could be bonkers broken if it's any unit. So if a Bad Batch unit dies and you have the Marauder, you could trade the Marauder, maybe. I think that would be quite cool, actually, because sometimes you just want to play fluffy stuff. Spectre have a few things like that, right, with the Ghost. But yeah, I think it's going to be the Marauder. We haven't mentioned any spaceships yet. The more I think of it, it's weird that that Bad Batch and Acolyte are being kind of shoved into this set. It seems like two separate themes that there are, but this wouldn't be the first time that FFG have done that now, would it? The last one, number 12, I've changed. A redemption line, another one, a character telling someone, or maybe just telling themselves that they are no longer who they were, that the things they did, any kind of sides they took, any choices that they made were, they were a different person, or at least they're trying to believe that. If Crosshair is no time for regret, and I believe he is, then I've changed. It's going to be another character from the Bad Batch, not a member of the Bad Batch themselves. I have a stronger read on this, and I really think it's going to be Asajj Ventress. Her arc across Clone Wars and kind of the novels, the comics, all the kind of extra stuff is another Star Wars story about redemption. But she goes from assassin to bounty hunter to something approaching good, or at least something no longer actively evil. I've changed is Ventress, I think. They've used her in Twin Sons, Precon. There's 2 Asajj Ventress leaders and a few units already. And FFG in their game design do have some favourites. Maz Cantor. Why do we have so many Maz cards, for example? And I think Asajj is in that kind of category. I think they like using Asajj. She is a cool villain character. You can have lots of different keywords with her. She is embedded into quite a lot of the storylines in Star Wars. I think this final one is 90% certain that it's going to be Asajj. Right. 12 subtitles done, 12 theories chucked out there. Some of them I feel pretty good about. Some of them I'm definitely going to get wrong. But I cannot wait to find out which is which. I've been Ashes of the Empire has been a great set, and there's some cool stuff on the horizon with Homeworlds, and I'm really looking forward to spoiler season and finding out what they are. I do want to hear your predictions though. So anything that you think I've got glaringly wrong, do let me know in the comments, and let me know who you think it might be. And when Homeworlds actually drops, and when there's going to be a bunch of cards out there being spoiled, especially those red and yellow ones, I will definitely be having a good powwow about those, which means you need to subscribe right now so you don't miss anything out there when it happens. I'm NoBeefJustParty. This is SWURAY, and red and yellow always. See you in the next one.